When you're sentenced to death, the first thing that comes in your mind is that I'm going to die.
You see your friends having sentences, you don't have a sentence, you don't know what will happen tomorrow, so you live in suspense.
After the petition, we got stuck.
Nobody can access anything without paying a lot of money, and me coming from a poor family, I can't have that money to drive my way to justice.
I'm Navid Ahmed, by name, Pakistani national. I am here in condemned section in Uganda, Upper prison. I am detained here and sentenced to death, the crime which I did not commit. When we were arrested, by then I did not know how to speak English, and someone took advantage of me not knowing English and wrote my confession statement, and I was implicated and later on taken to trial.
Yeah, me, I'm Shad Magara. Yeah, I've been in prison now for 19 years. Yeah, I was arrested actually in 1994. That time I was still studying in the university. As a blood idiot, or as an idiot. I was doing so many things that were really, really silly, and that's how I got inside here. I was taking drugs, involved with the wrong group, ended up in robbery, eventually now in prison on murder, you know. So I was arrested, I think, when I was still young. I was 21. Then aged inside prison, came inside prison. That time would take a long time on remand and what. And eventually condemned to die. I was condemned to die in 2001.
I'm called Susan Chugla. I've been in prison since 2000. Those are 14 years so far. I spent 2 years on remand, and then the rest I've been serving the conviction.
My name is Joseph Chekoti. I come from far eastern part of Kapchoro, remote place of called like I did not even go to school. Yeah, I was arrested in 2004, charged with and condemned for for robbery, and in 2006. But up to from then, I appeal against the sentence that given me, and from that time up to now, I've been appeared before any court of appeal or had any appeal at all. And I have been hoping that perhaps I will be called soon in the Court of Appeals, but I realized later on that my file is missing, and due to some people who colluded with the judiciary system, personnel, and they destroyed my file. Actually, that's what the information I had before.
I'm called Senya Sowet, an inmate who has been living on the death row for the last 14 years. I was arrested in 2001, condemned in 2003, and I'm awaiting to go for mitigation. All along, we had no hopes of going for mitigation, but it was in 2008 when the Supreme Court overturned the decision made by other judges, and our files were remitted back to the High Court for mitigation. So roughly we've spent something like 6 years awaiting to go for mitigation since 2008.
By the time CCPS came in here, people's files have been lost. You know, most of them in fact had similar problems. But good enough, CCPS intervened by moving to various districts, collecting files, and I think, Madam, you are aware of that. You helped us very much. I remember the story you gave us here. For example, me, Kunya Samuel, I've spent here more than 10 years on death row, but my hope was just only restored when you intervened and went to Supreme Court.
CCPS is an organisation based in the University of Westminster in London. It was founded by Peter Hodgkinson, OBE, who was a founding member of the Council of Europe's expert panel on the death penalty. Since the project began, a large number of capital defendants have been assisted, both in the ongoing capital cause list. So these are individuals that have been appearing for trial and sentence after the Susan Chigler case, but also the Chigler beneficiaries who were remitted back to the High Court for resentencing.
The death sentence was made discretionary in all offences, including capital offences when there was such. So it became necessary that we do mitigation in respect of all offenses. And that's where Center for Capital Punishment Studies comes in.
I got involved in the CCPS project last year in April 2013. We had a capital cause list and they assisted with our briefs. They helped us, especially during mitigation. Previously, before we met CCPS, we used to have mitigation that was cookie cut, just mentioning a few words about the offender. But after we got involved with CCPS, we realized that we needed more information about the offenders.
The information about CCPS, I had the work we were doing, and I got interested in it. This is because most of the people, the vulnerable, don't get access to justice. And that is in line with my career objectives, because I want to serve the less privileged society and avail them with justice.
And I also really wanted to do what I could help with the mitigation, and so I was involved in the drafting of the mitigation to utilize the skills that I've developed during my time at the British Bar to help my colleagues in Uganda with that. So I really, it's been quite a monumental week for me, really looking at all the cases.
I think one of my most memorable times at CCPS was actually the first day I came. I went straight to prison and I had the pleasure of meeting the prisoners, and I've heard other people say this, that they're wonderful, they're so disciplined and they have so much hope. And when Pippa read out the names of the prisoners who were going to have their cases heard, I just saw a prisoner sort of go, yes! It was as if everything was finally coming true for him. He finally had someone to grasp onto. And I think that same feeling has now been instilled in me whenever I sort of achieve something here for the prisoners. I didn't come here with any strong feelings about the work that the CCPS does, but having worked here, I can really say that it has had an effect on me, and I hope I continue working for the next few years with CCPS.
But the people who are worried about the Ugandans who are on death row, for quite a lot of it, are people who are not Ugandans, who almost don't have a reason to care, but care anyway. And I really want to send my appreciation to them because they've worked so hard. Everybody's worked very, very hard. But I really think that if it's as it were, it's not their problem, but they have made it their problem, and they've helped so many people. So many of the prisoners, their eyes light up when they see the CCPS people, they engage with them, they're happy, and they have hope.
This session I have found very good help from CCPS. One, they have done a lot of research, especially about the particular cases, the convicts, their families. They have done research, they've involved the Ministry of Gender to get information from the victims, which we have found very useful to convince the courts in this mitigation session. They have also worked so hard to avail us with authorities, both within the Ugandan jurisdiction and outside Uganda, from the UK and other jurisdictions, which we have found so important in our mitigation process.
However, a large proportion of the Chigula beneficiaries were still waiting to be resentenced, were essentially still subject to an unlawful sentence, sitting in the condemned section of Luzira, waiting to go back to the High Court.
This coming session, 93 people are going for resentencing next week, and we hope that we have developed and improved these reports, and off the back of this session we hope that they will become a compulsory part of sentencing practice, certainly capital sentencing practice in Uganda, because this is the mechanism through which the court comes to really understand everything that they need to be able to sentence somebody appropriately and to understand how that person should be dealt with in accordance with the purposes of sentencing.
But CCPS, honestly, it is the only organization I've seen here which has a kind of humane face. And this is the people I've dealt with.
And since then, CCPS has been on ground and they have been helping me. They have talked to Pakistani Association, they have got me a lawyer through Pakistani Association, and I'm really thankful for CCPS. So far, I am hopeful and I am being helped because I have lawyer, and CCPS is trying to trace and reinvestigate my case, and I hope if God wishes within a couple of months I will go to court and I will get justice. I thank everybody, whoever is supporting CCPS and whoever is working with CCPS and whoever is willing to work with CCPS. I thank you very, very much, and I wish that you should work together.
But the most important thing is that actually, for us who are here on death row, because even from the time you're condemned to die, a number of us families leave you, people abandon you, but they have this kind of thing where they relate to us as people. They have this heart of wanting to help. Like Pippa, she really, I think her greatest payment is a smile, trying to see people with a smile on their faces and all that kind of thing. Tanya, I see a lot of concern. When she's here, she doesn't really even want to go. She's got to be dragged out of here. So that concern really, which we haven't found anywhere.
But actually, it's CCPS that is restoring all this to me. And whoever is putting his support through CCPS to help out people like me, your support is really serving the intended purpose. And whoever also wishes to do the same, please, I urge you to continue with such a heart, because it takes a special heart for someone to do what CCPS is doing for money. But now CCPS is doing it for free. That is something very unique, and that really changes lives of people, like it has done mine. Thank you.
I would like, in fact, to appreciate the role played by CCPS in training judges, training lawyers, because this is a unique service that has just been done by CCPS, of which we never expected. Mitigation in Uganda being a new thing, judges at times, I can't say that maybe they had no skills, but we heard that it was also something very new. Even some of the lawyers who used to come here also, they have been complaining of the same. We don't know how to mitigate, but we really do appreciate the services of CCPS in training judges, lawyers, even the state's attorneys. As we go back for mitigation, now at least they know what to do, they know how to assess and weigh the mitigating and preventing factors. Thank you for that.
Someone had to travel all the way to Lira and all these other stations. I worked in Mbale initially before I got elsewhere. I was being told the files I worked on could not be found. I couldn't understand it. But your people went and looked for them, and they found them. And they were here, and we were able to handle them. I'm really grateful for that. And I believe the prison's authorities, I hope they inform those inmates the role CCPS has played in this.
I think we've been lucky that the judges have actually been willing to take on forward some of the, willing to discuss some of the issues and willing to engage with some of the issues that perhaps they didn't do before. And I've certainly seen in this session, for example, regarding talking about death row syndrome and unlawful sentence. He didn't mention that last time, but I think that's a big development, I think. He was very clear about it. And certainly he's listed all the reasons why all the information quite detailed.
Then one good thing is, with the judgments that we had that you read out yesterday, this one thing that has given us hope is that we seem to be sure that no one is coming back, because we were talking about the death row syndrome and being under illegal sentences. At least that's one thing for sure. But we have a feeling that we're not going to have death row with rope on our necks anymore. So whatever is going to happen, we feel it can't be worse than it already is. So we have some hope. So we are anxious, but not in a bad way.
Samuel, I know you were supposed to get your results today. We were actually all waiting in court for that, and then we were told like an hour later that Judge Baptiste wasn't here because I think he hasn't had all the proceedings. But yeah, are you okay? I know it's like prolonging the wait a little bit.
Okay, I'm feeling somehow disrupted. If you are given a program that maybe you have come on such a day, then you expect at 6 something. Because in fact, the way we mitigated, we expect at least something to the sentence. But now when we came to that, they postponed the date. Yes. I'm somehow hard, but still hopeful.
it's a few more days. You waited a long time, so hopefully.
I've been waiting for a longer time, but
It's still. You still want it now.
I have maintained that hope.
You have.
Only that somewhere got some about something legacy test. You find that they have received the wrong sentence, so maybe they think that it can also happen to us. But still, that one cannot let us lose hope. We are still hopeful.
Martin, are you okay?
I'm settled since that day. Very humble, waiting for what
Well, I think it was very good that both of you were given the opportunity to actually speak, and the judge allowed you to say whatever you had to say. That's fine. That's understandable. Can be released.
Very happy, excessively happy. I'm really very happy, and I thank and I thank CCPS for pulling me from the It's like a prison again. Thank you, and may God bless you. Continue helping my brothers and sisters. They are suffering. May you come up in full swing. Don't fear. You have seen now. We are getting there because of your support. Thank you. We thank even the government. We thank judiciary. I thank judiciary especially for accepting the cry which has been brought to them by the CCPS. Thank you. Long live, long live, long live. Long live CCPS. Long live all my brothers and sisters. Long live the authorities, prison authorities, for supporting us, for keeping us.
I wouldn't have got here if it was not for you, and I'm sure, what's there, he was kept us is going to keep us all the way. But for the rest of the hands, I'm really concerned about. There are guys inside there who don't know, have no data when they're getting out of prison. The guys have left back on death row, the rope is still there. There are guys who came for mitigation who it is said that they've mitigated already, so they are going
that's
straight back.
an issue we need to look into.
So now, actually, those are the ones who really hurt me more than myself. Actually, I see that I got off well compared to the rest. So I'm grateful.
From the results that we've already received, nobody has yet to received a death sentence, although we haven't received all the results as yet. But it appears that the judiciary have certainly engaged with the issues that we've raised.
I was telling my people in the court, I don't know whether you were in my court in this very session, that Center for Capital Punishment Studies, for example, went out of their way, together with the Uganda Law Society, I'm told, and some governance program somewhere, and looked for files of these persons who have already been sentenced to death. These are files where the judiciary was informing everybody that they were lost or they are misplaced. And it was difficult because of these persons had to come for mitigation in accordance with the Chegola decision. That would not happen. But thanks to CCPS, you looked for these files, particularly yourself, I happen to know, because you came and told me, you had to go to Lira.
So, Samuel, today you've been released after spending 13 years in custody. I wondered whether you could say a little bit about how you feel today.
In fact, thank you very much, Honorable Marian. What I wanted you to say is only that thank you very much for your endeavors ever since you came in condemned section. Your work is very much varied. So many organizations have been coming on board, they come and go. But really when the CCPS came on board, you have been very much active, very committed on work, and I have been seeing so many changes taking place in condemned section until it also came to me, Kunya Samuel, to see that today I came to court and really I got a chance of being released. I don't maybe regard myself that maybe I played a very great role in my getting released. I only say that CCPS has been at the forefront in fighting my battle. And I would like also to thank Judiciary very much in exercising what justice, I'm so much pleased to see that Honorable Justice D.K. Wabutusibiri was very lenient in passing judgments to me. Only that my friends who have been here in court were not able to get lenient sentence, some of them, but still some of them also succeeded in getting lenient sentences. Others also have been released, others got something like 25 years, which is also more lenient compared to death penalty, which cannot even give somebody a second chance to live, so that we can also demonstrate that we are changing.
Well, I can't think of anyone more deserving of a second chance than you, Samuel. Yeah. So I'm very, very pleased that you've been released.
I've been highly advised by Madame Tanya that I really needed to come on board to see that we work together with CCPS, to see that we fight for our friends who are still in jail. And I really thank her very much as Director CCPS Uganda for her contribution. And I also pray that I will always be there to work with CCPS to see that some of our friends also access justice.
Centre for Capital Punishment Studies Mitigation Project doesn't have any funding. Doesn't have any funding. The project is essentially run by volunteers from the UK, but fortunately, with the little resources that we've had, which are mainly human resources, we've managed to have quite a significant impact. However, to really go further in the future, we will need some sort of financial support, even just the very basics of photocopying. At the moment, we rely on the goodwill of officers such as the UN to allow us to use their photocopies, and the Law Society to photocopy and scan in documents. But even those sort of resources would make a huge difference to our project and allow us to operate in a more efficient and in a more positive way.
But with this, the work that is being done, honestly, I haven't seen this before. Getting people out of death row, it is like fighting the death penalty in another way. Because hopefully, I think by the end of this year, there will be more than 300 people that CCPS has got out of here. And then the answer remaining the military and Anjigula, something is being done. It's just about getting things in place. And I'm really surprised with the little money that they have been using, the work that they've managed to do. If they are to have a bit more, I think this whole thing would be history, So it's all about really changing lives. What I was really talking about, for example, myself, like the way I came inside here, I think, honestly, if we didn't have hope, if it was going on the way it was before, I don't think I'd be the kind of person really I am now. But I've realized, especially in Condemned here, that love and care from people like them, actually, who are really fighting for us, like how I find if my family can leave me on the side and I have somebody coming from UK who's fighting to get me out of here, such things change a person's heart. And if crime, it's all about reform. It's all about really caring. I think more than getting people out of here, you can say you're getting criminals out of here, but honestly, CCPS, you're getting really change people out of here. Because somebody cannot really get a touch of such help, a touch of such care, and end up becoming the same person he was, or worse than he was before. So me, I really, really want to thank, and it has been an honor, a really great honor for me working with CCPS, changing lives of guys inside here. You look at people when they are getting their property, taking them out, other people writing notes saying I've gone away, other people, much as you do work, there are people, they get their visitors, they bring for me, 2 slices of bread to eat on your behalf, So it has been really, really good, and I really thank you.